Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to That Conspiracy Podcast live on blogtalkradio.com. Thank you very much for listening. We have a guest call in, 310-742-1853. I am Randall Stevens, and you are listening to That Conspiracy Podcast. And today we are going to cover the moon landings, fake or real. You decide. So let's get right to it, ladies and gents. Okay. And once again, I am Randall Stevens. I'll be your host going down the rabbit hole today. Live on Blog Talk. Do a search on blogtalkradio.com for That Conspiracy Podcast. Check us out. We also have a YouTube channel. Check us out, That Conspiracy Podcast on YouTube. Or Randall Stevens. Thank everybody who has listened. Let's see. Okay, let's get to it. So the United States Apollo 11 was the first manned mission to land on the moon on July 20th, 1969. The United States is the one and only country to have successfully conducted manned missions to the moon, with the last departing the lunar surface in December 1972. All manned and unmanned soft landings took place on the near side of the moon. Other space programs, such as Russia, that was like our main thing back in the day, was we were fighting Russia, the Cold War. I think Russia's space program was the first to send a human into space. So we had to one-up them and actually go to the moon. It was the Cold War. And today we have China being one of the leaders. The Chinese space program, of course, with our stolen or sold secrets, allegedly. They've been interested in the moon for quite a while. Let's see, on January 3rd, 2019, so this year, just not long ago, the Chinese Chang'e 4 spacecraft made the first landing on the far side of the moon. So they went a little Pink Floyd on the dark side of the moon. Interesting. Why haven't we been back is my question. America, everywhere we go, we have bases around the world, multiple bases everywhere. And it doesn't make any sense that we don't have a base on the moon and that we don't have regular flights going back and forth to the moon if we were there in, what was that date? July 20th, 1969. So, I mean, come on. Doesn't make any sense. And so, one of the main reasons why I'm a little suspect, just one of many actually, is that we hear that NASA has lost the tapes of the data from the moon landings. Seems very suspect. And how did they lose the tapes? So it's believed that NASA, they started erasing old tapes and reusing them. Like back in the day when you had VHS tapes or beta, you want to record something, you'd end up recording over something else. So this is what a multi-million or billion-dollar space agency, we don't get new tapes, we just write over our old data. Makes sense, right? Let's see. So they're saying most likely what happened was the original footage from the moon that the astronauts captured with their lunar camera. It was stored on telemetry tapes, and the old tapes with telemetry data were being recycled. What? Makes no sense. So once again, this huge government agency with millions of dollars are accidentally recording over mom's soap operas like back in the day. Sounds like complete BS, and I'm not buying it at all. Another conspiracy theory about the moon landing is that it was filmed. Some people think it was filmed in Hollywood, which I don't believe. Others believe it was filmed in London on a soundstage by the director Stanley Kubrick. Can't say his name. Kubrick. He did a bunch of good movies. The Shining is one really good movie he's done. Eyes Wide Shut. It's almost like in all of his movies he's trying to speak to his viewers and giving them little hints if you have your eyes open enough. So that's an interesting theory, is that it was filmed on a soundstage. Scientifically, I don't know if anyone's heard of the Van Allen radiation belt, but the Van Allen radiation belt are these two huge belts of radiation, and they basically surround the Earth. And the magnetic field shapes them, and they have huge particles of high energy particles from the sun, and it's all radiation, basically. So in order for us to go to the moon, we'd have to go through the Van Allen radiation belts, which most people believe you'd be fried like you're in a microwave. But amazingly, Never a Straight Answer, aka NASA, they said, well, the timings of the Apollo launches were such that the Van Allen belts were at their lowest intensity. It fluctuates, according to them, with the amount that the sun is the solar winds and everything. That makes sense. Let's see. There can be adverse effects from even small doses of radiation. So NASA made sure the Apollo 11 spacecraft was well insulated, such that the average dose of radiation over the 12-day mission was just 0.18 rads, or similar to the radiation dosage from a chest x-ray. So if you want to believe that, you go ahead and you believe that all you want. And NASA even has a little article, paragraph here. You can work through all the math of the estimated radiation levels along with some helpful answers in this NASA education worksheet. Oh, how nice. Perfect. I wouldn't buy that for $1. Hopefully you wouldn't either. So, have we been to the moon? Who knows? Basically for you to decide. Do your own research. Look at all the evidence before you form a conclusion. Personally, I think it was a hoax. We were at the time in the Cold War with Russia. They'd sent like 70 dogs into space. A bunch of them died. A bunch of them got cooked. And then they finally got a man up there, and we were like, oh, what are we going to do? We're way behind. And we don't have the technology. We can't catch up. Well, fake it till you make it. That's America right there. So I think that's what we did. And, it all comes back to, we can do this episode soon, Operation Paperclip. So at the end of World War II, Russia and America were all in a hurry to gobble up all of Germany's top scientists, which a lot were at NASA. And that's a little food for thought there. If you think about it, we just gave millions and millions of dollars to German scientists that possibly could be Nazis. But I digress. So like I said, it's up to you to decide. Most baby boomers believe it's true. They don't want to believe what they watch as little kids was fake. I mean, there are a handful that are awake, but for the most part, I've come across they believe it's true, and that's their right. So, and if you've ever seen the movie The Shining, there's a lot of little clues in there if you do some research. There's some good YouTube videos where people break down The Shining and the little clues in there. Like the room number translates to no moon. The little boy's wearing an Apollo 11 sweater. They have Tang hidden in the pantry. Just little things like that, little subtle things that Stanley Kubrick, I don't know how to say his name. I apologize. I think it's Kubrick. But little things, I guess they're like Easter eggs that he liked to put in his movies for the people who were awake enough to see them, which most people aren't. All right, everybody. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for today. Quick little hitter. I want to thank all of you for listening to this episode on the moon landing. Had some decent numbers on the couple videos we've had on YouTube. Thank you so much. And I want to wish everybody out there nothing but happiness and success. Next time you're outside, take a few moments, look up, look at the moon, enjoy it. If we've been there or not, doesn't really matter. It's still beautiful to look at. And once again, I am Randall Stevens, and this has been That Conspiracy Podcast. I appreciate and thank all of you. Take care.